to respect his glory. Ride on out, profess his name. Jesus Christ, that's who we claim. He's my savior, know the Messiah. Walk with him.
What up, what up, what up? This your boy, Crisscross 304, checking in. And you're listening to the community. Another great night of sports. Again, we've been discussing all week the NBA conference semifinals and the NBA playoffs as a whole. But last night, two games went down. You had the Bucks versus the Celtics in Game 5, and the Rockets versus the Warriors as well in Game 5. So let's talk a little bit about how those matchups played out. One series is done, and then we'll get into a little bit of Tyronn Lue in the third segment. But here in the first segment, we're going to talk about the Celtics and the Bucks. In Game 1, the Celtics defeated the Bucks on the road, and it looked like the Bucks could be in some serious trouble, as the Celtics weren't playing, if you will. They were ready to go. The Bucks had a little bit of rest coming into the series. Many thought they would win Game 1, but they didn't. Then there was all types of speculation as though the Bucks could be in serious trouble, but they weren't. They went on to win the next 4 games. And Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek Freak, went off in each of those 4 games. Didn't have a great game last night. Wasn't leading in the scoring category or points for most of the game, but came on late. He had 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. Nearly a triple-double. But the bigger key to this story, why the Bucks won last night, and they did so, they won 116-91. And the point spread just got worse as this series went on. But when you look at other players who were contributing factors, you also had Middleton with 19 points, Bledsoe with 18, George Hill with 16, Ilyasova with 10, and Brogdon also with 10. And Mirotic with 10. So you can count that for yourself. 7 players in double digits. And when you look at other teams like the Warriors, when this happens, they're going to win every time. Any team in the NBA that gets 7 guys in double digits, you get a good feeling that they're going to win that game. And the Bucks proved that last night. So the Bucks win the series 4-1. You saw all types of excitement from Milwaukee's crowd, as they have not been to the Eastern Conference Finals since 2001. That's 18 years since reaching the conference finals. And they look ready to make a run now to go to the NBA Finals. 1 series left to go. But you heard the Greek Freak in the preview talking about 2 dangerous teams in front of them, whether it be the 76ers or the Raptors. Many believe the Raptors will move on, but it's not decided yet. There's a Game 6 in Philadelphia coming, and then a potential Game 7 in Toronto if Philadelphia can get the win at home with their backs against the wall. But Milwaukee will have some time off now, at least 2 nights, tonight and tomorrow. Of course, if Philadelphia goes down and Toronto wins, they'll play Game 1 in roughly 3 days. So the question now becomes, will Milwaukee advance to the NBA Finals? Can they get past either of those 2 teams? Well, guess what? Yes, they're 5-2 against those 2 teams during the season. So they can very easily get past either one of those teams. But again, it is the playoffs. Teams are stepping up. And if the Raptors win, you got to deal with Kawhi Leonard. That's much more dangerous for the Milwaukee Bucks than anything the Philadelphia 76ers can bring to the table. It seems as though the 76ers always come up with excuses. Now all of a sudden they're losing and Joel Embiid saying he's sick. But guess what? You get paid millions of dollars. This is the playoffs, and excuses aren't going to work. So again, it's yet to be determined who will take on the Milwaukee Bucks, but the bottom line is the Milwaukee Bucks are the first team in the Final Four, in the NBA Conference Finals. And if you're not watching the playoffs, you might want to start watching, because things are getting very exciting. LeBron James not in the playoffs. That's a negative. But the positive is we're going to have a different team representing the East this year, and there's only 3 teams left. This is your boy Crisscross 304. You're listening to the community. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with you with segment 2, Rockets versus the Warriors. Stay tuned.
USA, Team Trump. USA, make it great again. USA, Team Trump. USA, make it great again. Election day is coming up. Who you like? I'm with Trump. Make a pick and don't be judged. It's for free, it don't cost ya. Don't believe me, come and see. Dropping knowledge so deadly. On the road, constantly. Going for broke, can't you see? Immigration lost control. Build a wall, that's for sure. Stop the madness, use the dope. Quit your crying, that's so old. You don't like it, gotta go. Throw them out in the cold.
Starts to apply the chokehold. McGregor's in trouble. McGregor's in trouble. And McGregor taps. The fight is over. Khabib, an obvious celebration. He'll retain the championship belt. Now he jumps the ring. Oh, and now there's a fight in the crowd. Khabib jumps over the ring. There's a fight in the crowd. The fans are going crazy. Now there's a fight in the ring. McGregor takes a left, a right, a left. Oh boy, it looks like some of Khabib's people have jumped into the ring. And there's fights all over the place, folks. Khabib will win and retain the belt. But now we have fights in the ring and outside of the ring as officials try to get this thing under control. Wow. I can't believe what I'm seeing. McGregor taps. He taps out to Khabib. Khabib celebrates, throws his mouthpiece, jumps over the ring, and starts the fight with fans in the crowd. We'll get more information on that later, but that's the situation. Officials are separating everyone now, but fights are taking place all over the place. People in shock, especially fans of McGregor, cannot believe what we're seeing. But Khabib will win. He will retain the title, and you're not going to want to miss this video later of the aftermath after the fight
listening
concluded.
to the community with your host, Crisscross 304. Crisscross 304. Crisscross 304. Crisscross 304.
Lose your best player, it's deflating. But we got a lot of competitors on this team who play a great heart. And guys stepped up. Steph came alive. Kevon Looney, can't say enough about his performance. 5 offensive rebounds, that's just heart right there. And yeah, it was a great thing.
If you haven't heard, any day he might return. Signs of the times, do you really want to burn? I say no sir, I don't think so. As I look through the people, no matter where you go, it seems the story gets retold. Yeah, Jesus is the Savior. Truth is a weapon with the power to save ya. The ride is getting bumpy.
Right now, it's definitely up there. This series has been a battle. I mean, each game is there's such a little margin for error. And we know we're going to have to be near perfect to go down to Houston without Kevin and win a game. It's going to be hard, but that's what the playoffs are all about, how tough it is to win and what makes it so special during the whole run.
Wake up, your eyes look like they closed. Keep on moving, when he comes no one knows. Look up, look down, are you blinded to his crown? You might not see him, but he moves all around. Holy Spirit, would you please fill me up? I'm ready to praise him and you promise to show up. I can't do it alone, cause these fears got me froze. I'm ready to fly like Chicago's Derrick Rose. Freedom, not just a fantasy. Who could have thought this is better than ecstasy? Join the Holy Spirit with Hillsong in Miami. Now I live in Christ, no need for a Grammy.
What up? This is your boy Crisscross 304 checking back in, and you're listening to the community. So last night in the second game, Rockets take on the Warriors in Game 5. Now the series was tied 2-2. This was a big game, kind of like not really a deciding game, but a very important game, especially if you're the Warriors. You cannot afford to give up home court advantage in this series. And in fact, it turns out they did not. They won the game 104-99. However, the game was very close, especially in the second half. If you saw the first half, the Warriors got out to a big lead, but the Rockets did a good job of keeping the game close in the second half. They clawed their way back, got to within 1 point, stayed that way for a little while, and then the Warriors took charge. However, the storyline is Kevin Durant is injured. And we're finding out today now, and even as late as early in the morning, that he will not be available for Game 6. Is anyone shocked about that? You shouldn't be. Because the reality is you have to win this series if you're the Warriors to make it to the next round. So if you're going to sacrifice a game, Game 6 is the one that you want to sacrifice. And what will happen now is they played last night, Tuesday night, into the wee hours of Wednesday morning. And Game 7 wouldn't be till Sunday should it be necessary. So that gives Kevin Durant plenty of time, hopefully, unless the injury is worse than suspected. It gives Kevin Durant plenty of time to rest up, get some therapy, if you will, spend a couple days and get ready for Game 7. But the question lingers, can the Warriors win without Kevin Durant? Can they win Game 6 without Kevin Durant? No, they can't. They can win a quarter and a half without Kevin Durant on their home court. And if you think about it, he went out with a 3-point lead. And the Warriors won by 5. So they outscored the Rockets once Kevin Durant left the game. But they will not do that for an entire game, and they certainly won't do that for an entire game in Houston. So this series is going 7 games, folks. Make no mistake about it. But should Kevin Durant be more injured than we think he is at this time? And if it's worse than a strain to the calf muscle when they do the MRI today, and let's just say it worse, Kevin Durant cannot play in Game 7. Can the Warriors win without Kevin Durant? I don't think so. There's no way that James Harden and Chris Paul are not going to find a way to win this series if Kevin Durant cannot play. Now, I know the argument, the Warriors are a championship team. They've got other players other than Kevin Durant, and they can win championships potentially, or at least get to win one of the next 2 games without Kevin Durant. But can you imagine the storyline if Kevin Durant did not play and Chris Paul and James Harden let this situation slip through their fingers? It's not going to happen. They will not be able to sleep with themselves at night. So if Kevin Durant cannot play, the Warriors will not win. That's the bottom line. And if you disagree, then we simply just agree to disagree. However, much to come. The MRI is scheduled for today. More information will come out just as far as how serious the injury is. But we do know for sure that Kevin Durant is not going to play in Game 6, and that might just be a safety measure to get him ready for Game 7 should it be necessary. And that's really a smart move if you're the Golden State Warriors. So last night, as I'm getting ready for this game, and you heard in segment 1 that the Bucks moved on for the first time in 18 years since 2001 to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they await the 76ers and Raptors. And then I glanced at the better of the 2 games, because I think we all knew the Bucks are going to win last night, right? They're up 3-1 at home in Game 5. It's over. Percentages will show that the series is over. So then I glanced at the second game between the Rockets and the Warriors, and I cringed for a second. I said, please don't be that late. Let it be at 9 p.m. And I look at it at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And rightfully so, because on the West Coast, they want that game at 7:30 at night to make sure that all the fans can get there. And of course, even if it was at 5 or 6 o'clock, people are going to take off work and do what they got to do to get to Game 5. Make no mistake about it. So the game was at 7:30 on the West Coast and 10:30 on the East Coast. And that means you need to stay up till 1:30 in the morning to watch the game. So how many of you actually made it up that late? I wish I could tell you I did. but I'd be lying if that was the case. I made it to halftime and fell asleep. So I had to wake up this morning, like many of you, and watch the quick highlights, which you can find on YouTube always in about 10 minutes. And again, I was shocked to see that Kevin Durant was hurt and they still won. But that won't happen for 4 quarters in a single game. It just won't happen. James Harden and CP3 will not stand for it. They will find a way to come out on top. Kevin Durant is too important to the Golden State Warriors, and they don't win all these championships without one of the greatest players in the world. So once again, no, the Warriors cannot win without Kevin Durant. This is your boy Chris Cross 304. You're listening to The Community. Stay tuned for segment 3. After this, will Tyronn Lue coach the Lakers? We'll have more information on that. Stay tuned.
Yo, I'm so sick and tired of these haters. Ain't got nothing better to do, just all in my face. I'm like, back up, back up, back up, back up. Off me. Haters get off me. Haters get off me. Yeah, I'm going on a trip tonight. Secret mode, that's right. Haters get off me. Haters get off me. Yeah, I'm going on a trip tonight. Silent mode, that's right. Off of me, back up slowly. I move so quick, haters can't see me. Getting what I need, you best believe. The days are short and his gift I shall receive. Jesus comes first, quench your thirst. If you don't follow, you might be cursed. One way home, a party with some foam. The place so big, you might just roam. I'm all over town, not till sundown. Shine his light, worship his crown. Don't fear death, cause he puts me at rest. If you don't agree that my God is the best, get off me. Haters get off me. Haters get off me. Yeah, I'm going on a trip tonight. Secret mode, that's right. Haters get off me. Haters get off me. Yeah, I'm going on a trip tonight. Silent mode, that's right. I'm really in the mood. Hey, I like your attitude. Wanna chill tonight? Please go out and see the fight. Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. We got choices, gotta make your mind up quicker. It's all on me, no need for the money. Grab your girls, let's go, follow me in for free. Club close at 3, party time, pray for me. Dancing all night, sweating profusely. Don't know the time, lost track happily. Middle of the night, all the haters fell asleep. They off me. Haters get off me. Haters get off me. Yeah, I'm going on a trip tonight. Secret mode, that's right. Haters get off me. Haters get off me. Yeah, I'm going on a trip tonight. Silent mode, that's right. Get off me. Haters get off me. Haters get off me. Yeah, I'm going on a trip tonight. Secret mode, that's right. Haters get off me. Haters get off me. Yeah, I'm going on a trip tonight. Silent mode, that's right. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up.
The Trailblazers, like the 76ers, did not go quietly into the night. They did what they had to do, getting the win at home by defeating the Nuggets 119-108. An @Hoop Army official on Instagram says this series has been a war, weighing in on the comment section today. And make no mistake about it, they are 100% right. @Hoop Army official, this series has been a war. And not only has it been a war, but now it's like the old days, a big fight last night. And I don't mean fight like punches thrown and guys getting bloodied and all that, but shoving back and forth and longer and more than you would expect. Because when you're in a game 6, the last thing you want to do is get thrown out and be suspended potentially for game 7. Fortunately for all the players, that did not happen. And the rest did a good job as they could trying to separate them. But you got to give these guys a little bit of room as long as they're not throwing punches and getting too crazy, even though that would make for a lot of excitement on TV. As long as they don't start throwing punches and getting crazy, you just got to separate them. Don't throw anyone out and understand how much is at stake. I mean, these are professionals. These are competitors. And when their season's on the line, they are going to fight, especially when they feel as though their teammate received a hard foul unnecessarily. But the fight, if you didn't see it last night, is something common you see. It was really a player being sportsmanlike. There was a foul on the floor, and one of the opposing players went over to make sure that the guy that was fouled laying on the ground was okay. Well, he gets shoved by teammates by players trying to help their teammate up, but he wasn't doing anything wrong that deserved to get shoved. He was just making sure that the guy laying down was okay. But this led to a scuffle, almost spilling into the stands, going right from the free throw line all the way to the sideline before the refs could separate the players. And fortunately for both teams kept their cool to some extent. No punches were thrown, just a lot of shoving and aggressive shoving, if you will, that made for exciting TV and a skirmish that is only going to hype this series up now for Game 7. You remember in the last series, the Trailblazers hitting the big shot over the Thunder by way of Damian Lillard, who you heard moments ago. And they want to get to the Western Conference Finals. And it would be a little bit of a shock because the Denver Nuggets are the 2 seed. But you're dealing with the Western Conference. And in the Western Conference, teams are very closely matched. And there's a very, very good chance that after tonight, we'll have 2 Game 7s in the Western Conference Finals. And it's making the road to the championship look a little bit more difficult if you're the Golden State Warriors. Because there are people and teams, players, professionals that believe that they can beat the Warriors now. It's no longer the Warriors getting by in 4, 5, 6 games. Well, they could get by the Rockets tonight in Game 6, but will they do that without Durant? Highly unlikely. And imagine those headlines if Chris Paul and James Harden cannot get the job done tonight. But more on the Warriors later. Trailblazers are in the news today, winning 119-108, forcing a Game 7 just like the 76ers. And that'll come this weekend. Not quite sure if both games will be on Saturday or if they're scheduled as so yet. But if the Warriors win Game 6 tonight and there is no Game 7, you got to believe the NBA might split those games, those Game 7s to Saturday and Sunday. So the NBA has some options here depending on how things go. Looking at the stat sheet last night for the winning Trailblazers, Lillard with a team-high 32 points, McCollum 30, and Hood 25. And you get all 3 of those guys with over 25 points, and it's highly likely the Trailblazers, almost 100% of the time, are going to win the game. On the other end, Jokic still playing very well every game. Nikola Jokic, that is, 29 points, 12 rebounds. And Murray, 24 points, 10 rebounds. So Murray doing a good job of getting on the boards, despite being a guard. But what will this game circle around? What will Game 7 have to show? Who will have to step it up in Game 7? And I'm going to tell you right now, the guy you can look at is Enes Kanter. He had 6 points, but more importantly, 14 rebounds. It's one thing that the Trailblazers struggle with is having a guy that can get on the boards and crash the boards night in and night out, and having Kanter back, he can match Jokic on the boards. He's not going to match him in the point category. Lillard, McCollum, and Hood will do that. But Enes Kanter's got to be in the game and getting rebounds. He needs to have almost 20 rebounds in Game 7 for the Trailblazers to win. This will take away second chance opportunities for the Nuggets, and on the offensive end, give second chance opportunities to Lillard, McCollum, and Hood, who will usually benefit off of those situations. So big fight going down last night. No different than in the UFC or boxing when guys get in a shove a match in the weigh-in. It leads to everybody talking about it, and that's the storyline today. Both of these teams fighting like the old days to win this series. And it was really good to see. It was even better to see that no punches were thrown. But it's just enough to get everybody talking and to hype up these playoffs, who many said would be the worst year in the last 10 with LeBron James out of the playoffs. But I hate to tell you, even without LeBron James, this has been one of the most exciting years of the NBA playoffs in at least the last 4 or 5, if not longer. So 2 Game 7s, one in the East, one in the West. Milwaukee Bucks waiting on the winner of the 76ers and Raptors. But we still got the Warriors and Rockets to deal with a Game 6 tonight to see if we'll have 3 Game 7s. And if we have 3 Game 7s in the semifinals, look out, people, because it's going to be hard to say that this is not a good year for the NBA playoffs. I don't know how the TV ratings are, and I really don't care, because people have many more ways to watch games now than just on TV. You have internet and all other types of ways where you can get games. You can even go on YouTube where people are live streaming, and they might not even be live streaming the game, but they're broadcasting, they're talking about the game. And there's other ways now to be driving in your car or doing whatever you're doing about your regular life. You may not be watching TV, but make no mistake, everyone's going to be listening to these games. They might even be at Mother's Day parties, they might be at other things. And if the game's not on, they're going to have a headset on trying to sneak away to listen to the score while still enjoying the Mother's Day festivities. This is like going to a wedding where you can't drink alcohol, but you put a flask in your pocket. This is what Game 7 means on this Mother's Day weekend. People will be finding a way to get minute-by-minute results of these 2 and potentially 3 Game 7s. And even if the Warriors win tonight, still having potentially 2 Game 7s on Saturday and Sunday, or maybe both on Saturday, it's going to lead to a big weekend. On a side note, you also got UFC 237, Namajunas versus Andrade. This isn't your regular week-by-week UFC fight night. This is a big deal, the once-in-a-month UFC. Namajunas, the champion, Andrade, the challenger, and this is going to be a big, big fight on hand this Saturday. And usually when you have the once-a-month UFC main event like you do tomorrow night, this Saturday night, May 11th, you can expect people to be tuning in because a championship belt is on the line. That's the situation. That's what's going on in the NBA playoffs 2019 version. When we come back, we'll talk to you about a team that we've been talking about lately, the Miami Dolphins, making another big move yesterday, a huge move, making one player on the Dolphins the highest paid player in the NFL at his position. So the Dolphins are not playing around, and they got all kinds of draft picks coming in 2020. So stay tuned. This is a community. This is your boy, Chris Cross 304. We'll be right back after this.
We saved. We saved. We saved. We saved. We saved. I'm spitting truth, you can get it if you want to. Undress your sin, ask him if possible. Running through the field, well equipped for battle. Praise his name, make sure it's no hassle. Don't tell a lie, he can read your mind. Say the wrong thing and it's best you hide. Feel his wrath at the end of the ride.
What up, what up? This your boy, Chris Cross 304, checking back in. You're listening to segment 3 here on The Community. And the topic of conversation in segment 3 is, will Tyronn Lue coach the Lakers? And now normally I'll tell you, I'm a black and white guy. I'm a yes or no. There is no maybe on almost every topic in life. But when it comes to this question, will Tyronn Lue coach the Lakers? I have to be honest and say, I don't know. I truly thought Anthony Davis would have been signed by the Lakers via trade 100%, but it didn't happen. The Lakers could not figure things out. The Lakers could not do what they had to do to get Anthony Davis there, which probably would have guaranteed that him and LeBron James would be playing together for some time, and others would flock to LA. But the Lakers could not get the job done. They would not give the Pelicans what they wanted at the end of the day. And the Pelicans knew what they had, and they weren't going to give it up easily. So when it comes to the same situation, will Tyronn Lue coach the Lakers? I think so. But I thought Anthony Davis would be playing with the Lakers by this time as well. Right now, the Lakers and Tyronn Lue cannot come to an agreement. Just breaking down the situation for a second, Tyronn Lue coached LeBron James in Cleveland for several years. And the two were very successful together, reaching multiple championships in a row and even winning one together. So this would be a good formula for the Lakers. Number one, your superstar, LeBron James, will be very comfortable with Tyronn Lue. Did they have disagreements in the past? Of course. But what player and coach do not have disagreements? That's natural. Experience is everything. And the Lakers should really do whatever they have to do to get Tyronn Lue as the head coach. But here's the problem. Tyronn Lue is owed roughly $10 million by the Cleveland Cavaliers next year. The Lakers want to offer him only a 3-year deal for $18 million. So you do the math, that's $6 million next season. So Tyronn Lue would actually lose money over the next year to year and a half to coach the Lakers when he can sit his butt at home and make more money. That doesn't make any sense. And also with LeBron James only having 3 years left on his contract with the Lakers don't want to take a chance on Tyronn Lue for more than those 3 years. So what does that tell you? The Lakers don't really have a lot of faith in Tyronn Lue, but instead they want to bring Tyronn Lue in just to coach LeBron James. And then if LeBron James is gone, guess what, Coach Lue? We don't need you. So that's what the Lakers are telling Tyronn Lue. And what Tyronn Lue and his agents are doing is saying, nope, we want 5 years. We want a championship caliber coach contract. We don't want a measly $6 million a year for 3 years. We want 5 years, and we want this much per year, whatever that number may be. Because if you're going to come out next season and coach and maybe lose a little bit of money, well, you need to be guaranteed that you're going to stay there for a while. Or else he's liable to coach 3 years and only make $8 million extra than he's already guaranteed from the Cleveland Cavs on the buyout of his coaching contract. But at the same time, if you're Tyronn Lue, you got to be careful, because you don't just want to be on the coattails of LeBron James, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But hey, in 5 to 7 years, will LeBron James be in the NBA? We don't know, but if he is, he'll be on his way out at some point. And then what? Are you going to have the ability to coach a team? Or are people just going to say, well, LeBron James isn't playing anymore, so what do we need Coach Lue for? So Coach Tyronn Lue has a lot to be looking at here, and he's doing right by saying, hey, I want a 5-year contract. And even if LeBron James is not here, I can still coach the Lakers. And it gives him some insurance so that if the Lakers don't want him in season 4 and 5 because LeBron James could be gone by that point, well then guess what? They're going to have to buy out his contract, and the Lakers don't want to do that. And that's why I'm saying I don't know what's going to happen here. Again, I thought Anthony Davis would be on the Lakers, but the Lakers, I'll say, screwed that up somehow. Of course, the Pelicans wanted a lot for Anthony Davis, but what the hell, when you already got LeBron James, go ahead and give Pelicans what they want and get LeBron James and Anthony Davis together. That would have got them into the playoffs, and anything would have been possible once that happened. But they didn't pull the trigger. So now they're sitting at home. Now they need a coach to come in and kind of bail them out, because they got rid of Luke Walton. And the guy to do that, the best guy to do that, is Tyronn Lue. But now the Lakers don't want to pay him what he's due. So it's starting to sound a lot for the Lakers like, hey, we got this superstar. We're not going to get the coach that would be best for the team. We're going to end up sacrificing the superstar. In 2 or 3 years, he'll be gone because he'll be unhappy. They won't have the best coach for the team. And in 3 or 4 years, the Lakers will be back to where they were last season. Or shall I say 2 and 3 seasons ago. A mediocre team, even less than mediocre, who has nothing to look forward to. But right now, the Lakers are still in the driver's seat. they could pull the trigger, make things right, and do what they got to do to give their fans, who are some of the best fans in the world, make no mistake about it, Lakers Nation is one of the best group of fans out in the NBA, especially when their team starts to win and they're in the mix. You're going to see a total difference. Superstars in the front row. Might even be superstars in the second row. I don't know. But it's good for the NBA if the Lakers can get back in the mix, especially having LeBron James on the team. And if you have LeBron James in your team and you can't make the playoffs, something is wrong. When you have Magic Johnson leave, all the other sportscasters can say what they want, but when Magic Johnson leaves without telling anybody, something is wrong in LA. And the fans should be furious. That's the situation. This is your boy Chris Cross 304. Thanks for listening to the community. Holla back.
Yeah, he's coming. Yeah, he's coming. Who do you follow, huh? So what you swallowing? Jesus Christ is the life. He'll fill me up again. Now's a chance to listen to him calling. Stop you in your tracks cause you falling. Gotta make a move to start walking. Better yet, follow now, please quit your crawling. I'm not being nosy, but I'm asking, who gives you knowledge? Cause you crashing, swerving in your lane while you driving. Bumper cars, no scars, now you know you lying. I try to stay straight, no dying. I love to live free, so I walk with Christ. Hey, 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 and I'm proud to be saved. Yeah, 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 I walk with Christ. Hey, 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 and I'm proud to be saved. Yeah, I'm proud to be saved.
Bed breaking wayness, behind a 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 this is of interest, the community is of interest, and this is of interest, the community is of interest, and this is of interest, the community is of interest, and this is of interest, the community, this is the community, this is community, behind a bed breaking wayness, 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 behind a bed breaking wayness.
What up? This is your boy Chris Cross 304 checking back in. You're listening to the community. This is Friday the 13th on the community. And I know you're saying, wait a minute, it's only May 10th. What are you talking about Friday the 13th, Chris Cross? What I'm talking about is this is our 13th episode, and it is Friday. So here on the community, it is Friday the 13th. Things are getting kind of wacky. 2 Game 7s, a fight on the horizon. And you got the Warriors and the Rockets tonight in Game 6. And I'm telling you right now, the Rockets are winning tonight. They didn't come this far. James Harden didn't do everything he did in the offseason, conditioning himself and training his body to lose a Game 6 at home with no Kevin Durant. It's just not going to happen. Mark my words. The Rockets will win Game 6 tonight. I'm not saying they're going to win Game 7, but that might come down to whether Durant is healthy or not. But now getting to the big news in the NFL. You know, in the third segment, we try to highlight one person, whether it be a player, a coach, or whatever it may be. But the Dolphins signed cornerback Xavier Howard to a 5-year, listen to this, $76.5 million. $51 million coming in the first 3 seasons. And he is by far the highest paid cornerback now, surpassing Josh Norman of the Washington Redskins. And if you're a player in free agency, you got to be looking at the Miami Dolphins because you're going to get a big contract from them. They're setting the tone. They got roughly $100 million in cap space for 2 seasons from now in 2020. They got 12 draft picks coming on the board next year, 10 guaranteed, 2 by compensation. So they got 12 draft picks potentially in 2020. Look out for the Miami Dolphins heading into 2021 and beyond. This is a team that brought in a new coach in Brian Flores, former defensive assistant and co-coordinator for the defense of the New England Patriots. And we talked yesterday or 2 days ago when we talked about the Dolphins running back doing the Miami Miracle and dancing afterwards a little bit as the stadium shook. That was his last experience, was Brian Flores in Miami. Well, now he's a Miami Dolphins head coach, and they're making big moves. And I'll tell you now, those are situations, especially in Miami, where people leave the stadium a little bit early, and I'm talking about the Miami Miracle last year because this happened to me as a kid. When the Dolphins are down without the football, people start walking out. We're not used to things like this happening very often. But when I was a kid, I'll never forget, I grew up 1 mile from the Miami Dolphins stadium, Joe Robbie Stadium at the time, baby, Joe Robbie. I know you know that name. But I went to see them play the Redskins. And I can't tell you exactly how it turned out or how the game was won, but all I know is I left early with my mother at the time. She took me to the game, but she wanted to leave early to beat traffic. And we learned a hard lesson. And I learned a hard lesson as a kid. You don't leave the game, especially if it's within 2 touchdowns. Doesn't matter if there's 1 second left, you don't leave. Because anything is basically possible. And I won't forget, we walked all the way down the stadium, way out to the car and way in the back. And as soon as I put my hand on the door to open the car, the stadium began to rumble. For minutes and minutes on end, the ground was shaking. The roar came from Joe Robbie Stadium because the Miami Dolphins, I believe at the time, intercepted a pass at the end of the game, down by like 4, 5, 6 points, something like that, and took the interception like 100 yards to the house. So not only was the stadium rumbling, but it was rumbling for a while as a Miami Dolphins player at that time ran the length of the field, and the crowd celebrated after. And all the people like me that walked to their cars and left early went home to see the highlights on ESPN and realized from that point on, you don't ever leave a game until the clock is at 0. And that's what happened to people last year in the Miami Miracle. But Brian Flores, a new coach, that's his last experience in Miami. But now he's a Miami Dolphins head coach. His first head coaching opportunity was with the Patriots roughly for 12, 13 years or more. Has a lot of experience learned from Bill Belichick. And now he's getting his opportunity with the Dolphins. And I can tell you, as a Dolphins fan and talking to others, fins up because everyone's excited about the future of the Miami Dolphins. Will they be good next year? Will they have a better record? That's yet to be determined. But the bottom line is the future is bright for the Miami Dolphins, especially heading into next year's NFL draft and beyond. Anything that happens in 2019 is a bonus. Year, $76.5 million, $51 million guaranteed coming in the next 3 seasons. Just unbelievable. And very rare that the Dolphins do something like this. But Brian Flores, head coach, is a defensive coach, and he wants to solidify that defense and build around Xavier Howard. This your boy, Chris Cross 304. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, and happy Friday the 13th here on The Community. Peace.
Bed breaking lateness. We hand up 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 this is of interest. We hand up bed breaking of interest. We hand up this is of interest. The community is of interest. And this is of interest. The community is of interest. And this is of interest. The community is of interest. And this is of interest. The community.